Well. Today we have MYRON from the Fresh and Fit podcast. I'm sure you guys all know who he is, but he's going to be debating some college students. And I've watched 27 minutes of the video. It's an hour and 44 minutes, so we still got a lot to react to. But we're going to go ahead and get right into it. There's a lot of heated people, and it's getting crazy. So let's keep watching.
Takers on why women deserve less. Oh man, here we go.
So basically the premise that he's saying is he's saying women deserve less and people come in to debate him pretty much. So that's the premise for those of you who don't know.
Okay.
Hello.
Do I deserve more or less?
Are you a man or a woman?
I'm asking you. Do I deserve more or less?
Well, probably less.
Even now, when my voice is lower than yours.
Hey, yo.
Even less now.
Yo. Man turned into the motherfucking, I don't know, bro. This man had the deepest voice ever. Even know?
I knew something was off. Saw that Adam's apple. I was like, oh, here we go. What was that? It's oil in my beard? Color correct. All right. Man, my feelings are hurt. I don't even know what that thing said.
Yeah, I'm not
That
saying
creature.
hello to you, so let's just skip the pleasantries.
Sure.
Ooh. That's the type of shit that women say. Damn, girl, you ate. I bet all her friends were saying that shit. Ooh, girl, you ate. You ate with that one. I'm not going to say hello to you, so let's just skip all the pleasantries. Damn, okay.
So why are
Yeah, I was going to say, can someone help her?
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming up. I appreciate it.
So are your views on women based on data or personal rejection?
Here we go, the whole you're an incel thing. Okay.
Because on a podcast about 2 months ago, didn't you just say you got your first girlfriend and you're like 30?
You see, when someone acts like this, they're just such a low-level thinker because they're easily controlled. Everything controls them, right? And I'm not saying that you have to agree, right? Because I don't agree with a lot of things that I see on the internet, but nothing emotionally controls me. The people who are emotionally controlled and have an emotional reaction to someone that they don't know and they only see things online, right? That is a low-level thinking person because they don't even have control over their own emotions. The news tugs at them. The social media tugs at them. Content creators tug at them. People around them tug at them. They don't have control over their own emotions. You should never have an emotional reaction to someone that you only see on the internet. There should be nothing on the internet that should get you to emotionally react. Even if you disagree with it. You should watch it and be like, I don't agree with that, right? But this energy that she's coming at him with, you could just tell she's just emotionally riled up.
Wow, she really thinks that's an own. Number one, I've had a girlfriend now for a few years,
I'm
not
so
2
sorry.
months. And it's an open relationship. I do what I want, and she's closed on her end.
That's embarrassing.
That's embarrassing, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, look at all the people here going crazy. So here's the reality, right? So let me give you guys a biological reality here.
What does this have to do with my question?
Women-
I'm asking if your views come from data or rejection. Because someone had to hurt you for the way you feel about women.
Oh, so I have to be hurt to be able to establish and tell the truth.
Well, yes.
That's
Sort
interesting.
of, kinda. Was it your mom?
No, actually, you know what's funny? It was my mom that warned me about these hoes. Yeah. It was actually my mom.
So you and your mom are birds.
Me and my mom are birds?
Damn, that low? That's how emotionally riled up he got you, or you gotta disrespect his mother? Crazy.
Yeah. Bird brains.
All right, interesting. Do you actually have an argument, or do you just want to make ad hominems?
No, I'm just asking questions. You have yet to answer my question.
Well, it
Is
sounded
it
more like a
based on-
statement since we're both birds, right?
Well, are your views based on data or personal rejection?
Yeah, they're based on data, obviously experience, anecdotal, talking with almost 4,000 women now at this point. So, and I think every guy here, right, though they might not admit it, would love to have a setup where they have a girlfriend that loves and admires them and respects.
This is like the worst type of person to deal with. Someone who is, you could just tell they don't like you, but they put on this like sort of like an act, right? I know you guys have all worked with that one coworker who is like, yes, yes, right, and they try to act like they're very nice, but you could just tell that passive aggressive energy just by dealing with them one time. I know you guys have all had that coworker, but this is the worst type of person to deal with.
Them, obeys them, and he could go ahead and get other women and she's close on her end. And this is what I was trying to say. Once you reach a certain level of status and you have your stuff together, you'd be amazed at what women will tolerate when you're that guy. So I want every guy to be at a point where if you want to be monogamous to your woman, you can, but if you also want to have other women, you can. And that's what I think keeps you attractive, because women only get in line when you have other women in line. Now, I know that... What was that?
He said you're not welcome on campus, prick.
Oh, look at this guy. Nice jorts. Nice jorts.
Hey, I have another question. Do you know who invented Wi-Fi? Like the technology for Wi-Fi?
Let me guess, a woman?
Well, yeah. So if it wasn't for a woman, your podcast, you wouldn't have one, and it wouldn't have gotten demonetized.
Oh, good one.
Did she really think she did some shit with that? Like, come on.
Yeah, so here's the thing. We do direct connect on our pod, so...
I don't care.
Wi-Fi is... Oh, now it's I don't care. Okay, great.
Hello?
That young lady looks miserable. Holy shit. I would hate to be around her.
Sir?
Make sure to hit the gym as well.
Sir? Hey,
Hey, just being honest, man.
sir?
You're... Yeah, look at this guy. Look at this guy.
Sir,
hey,
if you're here to
the
have
girls
a
aren't gonna fuck you,
conversation,
man.
I'm trying to have one with you.
Like the
The fuck is wrong with this chick? What is going on in this college campus? Like, I know exactly who these students voted for. Come on, let's be honest.
the girls aren't gonna fuck you, bro. White knighting is not gonna
They're just missing the blue hair.
do it.
Okay, hi. Would you like to have an actual conversation?
This chick needs to, like, what's wrong with her? Does she need some medication or something? Did she forget to take her meds today?
This is fucking awesome. All right, what are you gonna say? Go ahead.
All right, here. I'm here to have an actual like debate with you, okay? I'm not here to antagonize you or villainize you. I want to understand you, and I hope maybe you'd want to understand me. Is that okay? Mm-hmm. Okay,
Sure.
so what I want to understand is your viewpoint that women deserve less, or that you think men deserve more?
Well, two things can be true, right?
Okay.
So I think guys need to be in a position where they are the dominant and the leader in the relationship.
So I would like to understand why exactly do you think that? Is it what is causing this? Is it like an instinctual thing? Do you think it's based off biology, psychology?
What in
religion,
particular?
belief? Like the idea that the man should be dominant. What is the backing thought process for this?
Well, it's how society has thrived for centuries. You know, the man is the head of the household. He's a leader. He protects some provisions. And this is how we've been able to build up the society we enjoy now. And it's only with modernity and feminism that women have been able to kind of do the things that they do. But at the end of the day, I would argue most women want a traditional man who's going to be a provider, going to be a protector, and adhere to these traditional masculine traits.
Okay, so let me ask you a question about this, sir, if you don't mind. So,
Sure.
Would you say that over time, generally speaking, with how society has come, how culture has come, to where we are at this current point, are you content with how the world is today? With society, are you happy with how society has turned out? What exactly, do you have any issues with modern society?
Well, I mean, look, obviously there's pluses and negatives, but I do think that modernity has led to the overall degradation of society, and it's because we don't prioritize the family anymore.
So is the issue less that women deserve less, or that we should put more of a focus on traditionalism within the family?
Well, that's kind of the same thing from before. Again, men need to be in a different position now where they need to be able to vet out women properly for them to be their wives. Because the thing that sucks for guys now is that most women want to be married, but they're not necessarily wife material. Everyone wants to get married, but no one wants to be a wife is basically what I mean. So I think... well, you're a lesbian. I don't know what you're talking about. But anyway, Anyway, so yeah, that's what I think it is. Guys need to really focus on the family, but before they can even do that, they need to be able to go in with their eyes wide open with how society is and how we're playing the dating game, because we have more to lose.
Okay, so I understand where you're coming from.
Sure.
I think it makes sense that you would like to have, women would be able to be mothers, never be able to be wives. If a man is being a provider, clearly you would want something in return, right? I mean, like.
Yeah, to obey me.
Hey, stop training people in person.
I already know that's gonna
make
trigger
money
her.
as a personal trainer.
That word is gonna trigger her. Watch. Just off the way that she came in, I already know that shit's gonna trigger her. Hey, excuse me, I'm trying to have a conversation with you. Like, watch.
Oh, if you want people to hear you out, I don't think obey would be the best word to use. I mean, like, obey kind of implies that there's a lack of free will and thought. Would you think?
Interesting. So you say there's a lack of free will there, but is there, I mean
with the term obey, like the connotation that it provides when you say.
I mean, when you work a job, you obey your boss, right? Does it mean that you have to work at that location? You have to abide by the rules. When your boss, right, they tell you what to do, you have to obey, right? But if you don't like it, is it a lack of free will? No. You can go to another job. If you're working at McDonald's, you don't like it, you can go to Burger King. You don't like that, you can go. But the point is, when you're there in that building that they created, guess what? You have to obey. Or else, you can leave or you can get fired. It's one of the two. And understand this. When a man goes into a woman's world, this is why men end up playing by a woman's rules, because, they're abiding to what she has to say, because they haven't created any life of their own. But when you create your own life and you bring a woman into your life, you set the rules. You set the law of the land. Okay? So, I don't know why she's getting so pissed off about obey.
The word obey.
Yeah, because here's the thing. I find it interesting that on my end, I'm protecting and providing, and the one thing I ask in return is for her to obey, but that's a problem. See, that's.
Well, I didn't say it was a problem.
Because here's the thing. Here, let's be honest here, right? So, this is what I mean when I say modern feminism poisons women. Women want a guy who's going to be a protector and a provider and a good man, but if he asks, hey, I need you to obey me in return, she'll say, I don't like that word. Why do I need to obey you? Well, you need to obey me because I'm the one that's responsible for you. So if I'm responsible for you, that means I'm supposed to have authority over you as well.
Well, if you would like to have a conversation without putting words in my mouth where I said that I had a problem with the term, like, obeying people, I just said that if you want other people to agree with you, maybe find a different term that would, kind of incline people to agree. Secondly...
Well, that's the problem. People are too soft. That's the truth. We need women to obey us.
Says the guy who's here complaining about women?
Shorty is way too emotional. Like, she's just tweaking. Like, I don't understand how people... I understand, how women could be emotional, but I don't understand how people could go into a debate and think that being hella emotional is going to help out their case. Like, the person that looks the calmest is usually going to look like the one that's winning, because the person that's riled up, it shows that they don't have control over their own emotions, and the other person is literally playing them like a fucking ventriloquist. They're just controlling them.
No, I said women need to obey men. I'm saying the problem is that we have this society where people just don't want to be honest and say what it is.
But I'm being honest and telling you that people don't like the word obey.
Okay. Oh, well.
Okay.
Like,
well,
I find it interesting, right? So... a lot of people think I just talk smack to women all the time, but I actually talk more smack. Anyone that watches the show, I actually talk more smack to men. I tell them to not be fat, not to be losers, not to be dorks. Like, I bully the guys so that they become better. And men kind of accept this. But when we say we want something in return, women don't want to follow it. So it's like, women have one job and they don't even want to do that.
Well, have you considered that maybe women don't want your help?
Well, here's the thing. I'm here to help the guys out because they're the leaders, so...
Well, that's fine, but...
I'm very familiar with the fact that, like, women, like, if they hear a certain word, they get triggered and they can't listen to anything else. But, again, that's an inherent flaw in women because they're so emotional. But the reality is, like, as a woman, if you're in a relationship with a guy and he's doing what he's supposed to do, protect and provide for you, you need to obey him.
So wait, okay, you have a problem with women being overly emotional, yet you want them to be providers to children. That implies that there needs to be some type of emotional nurture there. So is the problem that women are too emotional, or that they're not emotional enough?
No, what I'm talking about is in this context where the term obey immediately triggered you.
I'm not triggered.
Okay.
Yes, you are. See, this is the thing. You know, sometimes women will speak and say things like, oh, you know, I'm not mad or this and that. But you have to pay attention to their actions, because this is a prime example. I'm not triggered, right? Her words say that, but her actions tell us differently. So a lot of times the words and the actions are incongruent. So always pay attention to the actions.
Do I look angry?
No. Well,
Yeah.
you didn't like that term.
You
You're
do.
like, hey, well, you know, maybe you could use a different word. It's like, no, that's what it is. Obey.
I didn't say that I was bothered by the word. I was just trying to give you some advice that maybe other people would be more inclined to listen if you didn't come off so authoritative.
Well, I think that's important where we're at a crazy point right now where we just got to start being honest and not tone police and worry about certain phrases triggering people. You know, the truth hurts a lot of the times, but this is what we need to do. We've gone so far left that we're going to need a significant overcorrection. And sometimes that means using words that people might find offensive.
Okay. So, all right, I understand what you're saying, that we shouldn't, you know, be so protective, right?
Yeah. The other thing, too, with
But
men,
you
I've
want to
noticed.
protect women, so you don't want them to be protective.
No, what I'm saying is that with men, right, when I say the term obey, guys just get it. They don't get offended by... this is actually a phenomenon I've noticed only with women. Like, when I tell guys stuff and I speak very direct, they don't care. They just consume the information. Okay, that makes sense, and move on. They're not really too concerned with how it's said or the terms that are used. But with women, a lot of the times, if I don't use certain terms or speak in a certain tone, they get offended and can't take in the information. And I think if women were a bit more receptive to the direct nature of the things I say, they'd be a lot better off, because I'm very honest about it.
It sounds like men tend to obey you more than women.
Well, I mean, if they listen to what I say, they'll probably do pretty well in life, yeah.
If you want someone to obey you, why don't you just go with guys?
That's a good one.
I'm just a genuine question. Why do you care so much about women if, like, the men are listening to you just as is? You're trying to do a thing for the men, right? Do them a favor, help them out. Women aren't asking you for any help.
Damn, girl, you ate. You go, girl. You got him. Well, straight up, you got him. You ate. Come on, G.
Yeah, no, I know that's why I focus on the guys, because they're not emotionally
Then why are
triggered.
you here talking about women?
Because that is a big obstacle that a lot of guys can't fix. They can't.
Then why are
Basically,
you trying to fix it?
I mean, if it triggers you so much, why did you come up? You didn't have to come up. You could have went on with your day, right? You could have continued on with it with your day. Right now, there's someone in Africa taking a shit. Do you care that that person is taking a shit? No. The same way that this man is just there, you know, doing what he's doing. Why did you care? You obviously cared enough.
because if we don't have women, we don't have the nuclear family, and a lot of guys struggle with this. Now, here's the thing. I understand that you might be in a privileged position where dating and getting men to court you isn't that hard, but for average guys, it's not that easy. So
Well,
a lot
I
of
don't
guys
need
need to
anyone
learn this
court
stuff.
me. I'm not looking for that. There's more to my life than worrying about what the other sex does.
Okay, well, you have that privilege since you're a woman and the men come to you. But
They
men
don't
need to
come
figure
to
this
me.
stuff out.
I came to you to talk to you.
Again.
Did you come to me? I don't.
Okay, but this is not a sexual dynamic to where the man is trying to take you on a date to then take you home and smash. This is a totally different. It doesn't even help your point.
I think so.
No, but this is us having a discussion here. What I'm saying is that, like, you're maybe
What?
like a 3 or 4. So, like, you're going to have more market pull, right, than a guy that's like a 7 or an 8. You're going to have more options than the average guy. So for you, right, you're getting an abundance of options, whereas guys are not going to get that same level. So, and the other thing, too, with women is women are just simply better at dealing with the opposite gender. Men need to learn this stuff. Guys don't kind of come out understanding female nature. They have to learn this stuff either through someone teaching them or
I
through
don't think I took a
losses.
crash course on how men work.
I'm sorry?
I didn't take a crash course on how men work. Why do men need to take a crash course on...
I mean, you don't have to when the men just come to you from a very early age. You don't have to when the men come to you. As a man, you have to learn a lot. You have to work on a lot. That's just the truth.
On women.
Because men, here's the thing, men have to build up the attraction and approach the women. They're the ones that got to make things happen. Women don't. You guys are in a privileged position where the men just come to you.
So you guys are stupid, basically.
I mean, if that's the conclusion you're going to come to, I
No,
guess.
that was a question. That wasn't a conclusion. It was a question.
No, it's a learned skill that they.
I coach men who are afraid of talking to women, okay? How many women do you think are afraid of talking to men, right? And even if they are, they're still going to get approached by a man. As a man, if you're afraid to approach a woman, you're going to be stuck. So that's why I started my channel. That's why I coach men on helping them overcome that and building unshakable confidence. Because if I don't help them, they're going to stay stuck with that fear, that false evidence appearing real. They're going to stay stuck with that. And they're not going to go talk to a woman because of self-imposed limiting beliefs. Okay? So, men do need to learn. Men do need to work on things.
They need to develop to learn how to properly deal with women so
Why
that
do
they
you
don't
need to
end
learn
up.
how to deal with people?
See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. I teach you guys to avoid women like you, as a matter of fact.
Thank you. Stay away
Yeah,
from me.
yeah. Well, I don't know. You should be in the kitchen somewhere, but it's fine. We'll have this discussion. Yeah. The reality is, what was that? Yes. Probably
I've
can't
not
cook either.
insulted you once this entire time.
See, this is precisely the problem. Combative, assertive women that, don't want to necessarily obey or know when to, be quiet when I'm making
Who
a
the
point.
fuck are you to tell me to obey you? I'm
Yeah,
not
she's
your
really pissed.
woman. I don't need to obey you. I'm not in a relationship with you. I'm trying to have a conversation with you. I don't need to obey you.
Well, you're
under
just kind of
any
just
means.
talking over me when I make my point or answer your questions or trying to, instigate some type of reaction, which is cool. I think it's funny. It's interesting. But I
Aren't
think,
you instigating a reaction
Yeah.
by being here on a campus with people who are more or less going to have
well, I'm
different-
just telling the uncomfortable truth that a lot of people don't want to hear.
So it's okay for you to be instigative and combative whenever you want to share your truth, but when someone wants to give another side of the truth, you want them to be quiet and you think that they aren't obeying you.
Yes, because a man's job is to be a leader and be assertive and convey information. Women, you guys are supposed to be quiet and make sandwiches. That's the difference.
You can make your own sandwich. If you need to take a crash course on how to talk to other people, you can take a crash course on how to make a fucking sandwich.
Anyway,
If you're such a strong provider,
sound,
provide!
you sound.
What's up with this campus, man? Who are these NPCs?
Mad that do you know how to make a sandwich?
Yeah, I do. Want me to teach you?
No, thank you. That's a woman's job.
Okay.
All right, cool.
So what do you do for a living? Genuine question. What's your job?
Yeah, we get to the next person.
Why can't you answer? Why can't
I
you
think it's
answer what
pretty
your job
obvious
is?
what I do. I mean,
Well, it's not. I'm a stupid woman, so could you explain to me what you do as a living
Skip.
for your job?
okay, I'll come back to you, Ovary. Let's go to her.
Oh boy. The dyed hair.
Hi, how are you?
What do y'all think? Is this one gonna be a good one? A crazy one? Is she gonna be a nice woman? Let's see.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
All right. So I have a couple of things. First off, throughout history, we've noticed.
I'm gonna be honest, she looks like a nice woman, right? But the hair, the colored hair, is usually an indicator that someone is insane. But see, she seems from the outside. Let's see.
That Western society was a lot more less developed whenever women did not have rights compared to now that women do have rights. They are inventing things such as Ada Lovelace and coding and computers. And so how would you think life would be if we never got those rights and those things were never invented?
We'd be a better society, probably.
And
Yeah.
why is that?
Well, we would have more nuclear families. We wouldn't have feminists. We wouldn't have strange progressive women that color their hair. We would just basically be better off as a society.
So you would be
Because
better
the
with
reality,
no income?
I find it interesting that women will name one or two inventions that they've made, but almost everything that we enjoy in modernity was made by men. Men are 90% plus of the inventors. If we had to rely on female ingenuity, we'd probably still be rubbing sticks together.
Okay. So a second one for you. What about majority of education professionals being women? So we are not only cultivating the young minds, but we are also fostering care and kindness in them.
Well, that's precisely why college is a joke now. As someone who graduated from college myself from a good school, the education system and academia in general has just become, a libtard fest where people are operating not on reality and thinking that there's 99 genders and, this woke ideology, and it's kind of like the battlegrounds for that. So the universities have morphed from a place where you can get a higher education, become more intelligent, and get a job into the real world versus, just pushing a political agenda. And this is why women are starting to dominate men in college attendance, because men are kind of catching on that college is a scam in most cases.
Just to clarify, I wasn't speaking specifically of college educators. I meant more of your public school system educators, so your K through 12 and things like that.
Sure. What's your particular question?
Majority of those people that work in those education fields are women, so we are the ones that spend majority of the time with the children, and we are the ones cultivating their minds, making sure they're educated and they're kind people. So how do you think that would be if we didn't have rights to teach?
Well, again, you guys are able to do that because men have stabilized and civilized the world for you to be able to do that.
But that's not, okay. So if we were to obey a man, then theoretically...
Within a relationship.
Within a relationship.
I'm speaking specifically, if you're in a relationship together, it's a woman's job to obey her man.
Why? Why not the other way around? Who says what? You?
I mean, if the man is a pussy, the woman usually gives out the orders, and the man ends up following. That's why they say, happy wife, happy life. When the man has to ask shit like, I gotta ask my wife to see if I can, buy this thing, or if I can do that. I gotta ask my wife. She's giving out the orders. He's whipped. He's listening to her. The power dynamic is always there. It just either depends. Is it the man or is it the woman? When the man is a masculine man, it's gonna be the man. The woman has no option, right? If she comes into his life, that's just what it is. And if she has a problem with it, then she can go. But if the man is a pussy, then the woman is going to be the one giving out orders. Okay? That's just how it is.
Well, because women can't lead anything. The only thing they can lead is to the end of the relationship. Simply doesn't work when women are in the power position in a relationship, because women don't respect weak men that lead them, that they're leading.
Okay, no, a woman's not going to respect a weak man, but if they're both equals, then there will be mutual respect between both of them. And
But that's
is
the problem.
when it should
Men and women are
thrive.
not equal.
How? We're the ones that give you life. Why is there no respect for that?
Well, actually, technically, we put our semen into you, and that's what creates life, not you guys. You guys just incubate.
Actually, semen can be performed and created in a lab, so we don't even need you anymore. Thank you.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Look at that. It could be in a lab.
Hi.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
A little bit. You might have to move the mic down for her, guys.
No, I got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it's all the way down. Damn. The struggles of being 5 foot, nothing.
I thought she was on a wheelchair. Shorty's that short?
Anyway,
Damn.
what's your name?
Myron, nice to meet you.
Byron? Okay, cool.
Myron, yeah.
Sorry.
Myron.
Myron, gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What's your name?
Ozzy.
Okay. How are you,
Sorry.
Ozzy?
I have no clue who you are. So this
No
is
problem.
very interesting. So I have a couple of questions for you.
Sure.
I noticed that you keep up bringing up the nuclear family,
Yeah.
right? And you put that on a pillar, and that you value it highly. That as well as the patriarchy, and you talk about how this is a good thing, and it benefits you and I guess women as well. And so on the patriarchy, I specifically wanted to ask you, how do you feel about the negative implications and just actual effects of it, both on men and, well, just mostly men?
The patriarchy?
Yes, sir.
So, okay, are you talking from the sense of from a modernity sense of today, or are you talking about before?
No, literally today.
Literally
So,
today.
Yeah, and well, I guess we could also visit you talk about how the nuclear family, and when that was at the height was I think, was it before World War? It was before and during the World Wars, that kind of 1950s era.
Yeah. I mean, Okay, so what's your? I'm just trying to understand your question specifically.
Yeah, so you talk about valuing the nuclear family, and I'm trying to ask you why. So, like, if you
Why?
can, like,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
very
Yeah, so the
clearly
reason
just
why is
explain
because
that.
children are the future. And in order to raise children properly, you need a mom and a dad, right? You need that balance. So, and that can only really be done in a nuclear family. This is why I'm not a fan of gays adopting or lesbians adopting. I think, the child needs to have a strong father and a mother in the household, for the best chance at being a productive member of society. That's why the nuclear family is so important, because our future is built on that, which are the children.
Okay.
Oh boy. She seems like a nice woman, but that little pause right there seems like she's boiling up inside.
You gotta stop with the bazinga. And then going to the patriarchy.
The patriarchy, okay?
Yeah.
What about it?
So you're talking about how, like, you value it and you find it good that men are then forced to go out and do these things. So you're talking about kind of like the men's rights issues, right?
Yes, I think men, there's a burden of performance on us. And I think that's something to embrace and rise to versus trying to be equal to women.
Okay, so you believe that men should not have a choice.
As far as in what regard? Working?
Not just working, but just style of life and, like, so taking away that choice from men and just generally from people of, like, their direction in life.
I mean, men can do whatever they want. If a man wants to be a cuck and get pegged in the ass, that's his choice, right? But he's just letting them know, listen, this is the better way of doing things when the man is the leader in the relationship. But, men can do whatever they want.
I think every guy should be prioritizing, whether they're building themselves up to eventually have a family, right? I understand that, for men, it takes time for us to acquire our value versus women kind of have the value up front. But I do think that every guy should be striving to become successful so that eventually a family will be dependent upon him.
Okay. I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, I don't think
But-
women should be working. I think they should be prioritizing motherhood, not jobs.
So then why, so taking our society and the amount of people that it takes to run a fully functioning, well-endowed society, that takes people of all kinds of creed, right?
Sure.
So when you take away that matter of choice from both men and women and everyone in between, why do you then believe that that will be a better society?
Well, the thing is this, right? So you're mentioning this thing about choice, and I think that's an illusion, right? And we need to be honest here when it comes to women pursuing education and a career. What we tell them is, hey, look, go get a job, make money, enter the workforce, and then you can have a family at the end of that. And what ends up happening a lot of times is women follow this route, get an education, get money, get a job, get a good career, and then when they try to find a guy at the end of that, it becomes significantly harder. Because what's ended up happening is the woman has risen up in status, risen up in her income, and her standards are higher, so a lot of guys aren't going to qualify. And I think if we were honest with women and told them, look,